paper bag.
Y'all need to watch this.
Okay. Inhale deep.
Wow, that's a cop there on body cam video. Captures a horrifying moment. In Central Florida, officers using Narcan to save the life of one of their own, a fellow cop by the name of Courtney Bannock. She was conducting a traffic stop and a brief exposure to fentanyl nearly killed her. We're thankful for her colleagues because they may have saved her life. And only 2 days after the incident, she joins us now. Good to see you, Courtney. You look good. Wow. On the video, you were talking about dollar bills. What did you mean by that?
So, actually, I don't remember saying it. I don't really remember much of the incident. But I do know that when I found the narcotics, it was wrapped up into a dollar bill. So I think I was trying to explain to them where exactly the drugs that I believed I was exposed to at the time was at. So they were aware, so it didn't happen to them as well.
Well, let me just stop a moment. You were making a traffic stop. And you approached the driver or a passenger, and you believe they had narcotics on them. Just pick up the story from there, if you remember that.
Correct. I was doing a routine traffic stop, ones that I've done hundreds of times before. I asked normal questions. I always ask to make sure, is there anything that's going to hurt me in the vehicle, pick me, poke me, stick me, or anything like that if I was to have to go inside. Ultimately, I did search the vehicle, which resulted in me being able to search the occupants of it. When searching a passenger, I did locate drugs on their body, one being a dollar bill. When opening the dollar bill, I partially opened it because I could feel something inside of it. I noticed a white powder substance. I've dealt with fentanyl many times before, so I believe that's what it was. And I wrapped it back up, put it in there, we kind of sealed it away, and went from there, so.
Courtney, listen to Detective Courtney Sullivan, call for number 3 here.
The other officers weren't there, there is a very high chance and probability that today would be completely different. And that we'd be wearing our thin blue line, straps that go over our badges.
So thankfully, there was recognition on behalf of you and your colleagues that you needed the help from the Narcan. I've been curious to ask, I'm just wondering what it's like, what does it feel like when you start to have the symptoms that would lead to needing Narcan? Do you remember that and what it was like?
So I remember being in my car and I was fine. I remember getting in my car, speaking with a fellow officer that was on scene through the passenger side window. I was good to go. I felt normal. As I went to go put my car into drive, I was talking on the radio to notify dispatch. We had made the conscious decision to not test any of the narcotics roadside because of the wind conditions. It was windy. We knew that the possibility of us opening the narcotics could endanger us. So we made the conscious decision to come back to the police department to do it. When I went to notify dispatch that we were actually going to head to the police department, I started to feel very lightheaded and I couldn't really talk. I almost felt like I was choking. After watching the body cam now, I hear myself, I was choking, but I remember consciously being aware. I didn't think I was overdosing. That never went through my mind at the time. I was so hyper fixated on my car's in drive. Hit the brake, keep the brake, so I don't roll. But I didn't really have the energy or movement other than trying, I wanted to get a drink so bad because I thought that was going to help me for some reason.
What a story. We've got this video here. This is July of last year in San Diego. Apparently another officer collapsing after fentanyl exposure. We covered that story when it happened last summer. And some of these headlines we're looking at from September, August, and June. West Virginia officers given Narcan during a traffic stop. In August, 2 Florida cops administered Narcan while placing a man under arrest. In Kansas, officer exposed to fentanyl and took 5 rounds of Narcan to bring him back. It's everywhere. And you're northwest of Orlando, near a town called Leesburg, Florida. That's like the Lake District of Central Florida. Are these drugs that common in your small town?
They're common everywhere.
Yes, sir. I can tell you that I deal with, whether it be me finding fentanyl through traffic stops or even on overdoses, where we respond to overdoses almost every shift. If it's not every shift, it's every other. We deal with that. I would say I see fentanyl overdoses or in people's possession almost weekly here.
Courtney Bannock, we are glad to see you up and at 'em. You said that you had some headaches last night, but that was gone today. We pray that continues for you. We're so glad that you're here. Grateful for you to share your story. And I hope you have a very Merry Christmas.